I would want to take that position for a couple reasons. One, I would view it as a defensive move where I'm not going to give up that space to my competitors. And I'm not going to say like, oh, I don't want to rank on that, or I'm not going to work on this page because of it.
Welcome to Counterpunch. My name is Phillip Thune, CEO of Textbroker and Commissioner of the Digital Marketing League. We are very pleased today to have with us Tyson Stockton, a leading expert and SEO consultant at Searchmetrics. Tyson, welcome to Counterpunch.
Excellent. Good to see you again, Phillip. How you been?
Very good, very good. And we've known Tyson for a very long time, but we are not going to pull any punches. The way this works, I'm going to ask Tyson a couple questions. He's going to have 1 minute to respond. You can see the 1 minute on the clock behind me. I am going to answer that same exact question. I also will have that same 1 minute. Cassandra, our judge today, will let us know who did better. We're going to do that 3 different rounds. Actually, Tyson's going to ask me the last question. And so we'll see who answers those questions better, who wins this episode of Counterpunch. All right, Tyson, we are going to jump right into it. My first question for you is, how does using search data drive real business decisions?
Perfect. So I think the first one's the obvious one that we're all probably a little more familiar with, and that is using search data to drive your strategy and tactics within SEO and SEM. So that connecting it to business value, obviously those can be huge drivers and huge channels for whether it's revenue or just general traffic to the site. The other area that I think is really interesting that's often overlooked is using search data as more of a way to get consumer behavior information. And so using it to understand different target groups, understand what people are searching for, to then give clues into like what the actual demand and interest is, whether it's between products, categories, et cetera. I think this is also areas that search data can be a lot more flexible and more granular than some of the traditional ways, which is typically, census groups that can take a long time. With search data, you can be quite nimble, really fast react, and then also use that to drive your marketing strategy, merchandising, et cetera, et cetera.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And right on time. Cassandra's going to reset that clock to 1 minute, so I will take a crack at that same question. And I think, as you said, I like your point that search data can maybe short circuit doing sort of a broad market study or even a broad customer study. Understanding, what people are talking about, what the trends are. I've talked about that in the past. That sort of, going to Google Trends and understanding, what words people are using, what things are related to what you do, and really trying to broaden out, from our perspective, Textbroker, lots of clients who are coming to us for content. So we see that with our clients, trying to figure out, okay, what is my content strategy? What should I be writing about? And I think in, search data and sort of understanding not only what people are searching for, but like I said, the keywords that they're using, how they're using them, can really inform and help your marketing team figure out, okay, this is what we want to do. I think a second point I would make, and I'm running out of time, but is, trying to decide what's possible, right? If a lot of and I've gone over, I know the crowd's not going to be happy, but if you're trying to decide sort of what the opportunities are, especially if you don't have a huge marketing budget, I think search data can really help you there. Okay. And there's the horn again. I'm never very good at beating the clock. I feel like my guests somehow know how to do this better than me. In any case, we are going to wait and listen for Cassandra's judgment on that one. Yeah, no surprise. Tyson wins that round. Tyson had a better answer. Crowd goes wild. Nice job. All right, we're going to move on to our second question. And Tyson, I think this kind of follows on from the first one. Is there a specific set of search data that reveals customer behavior or consumer behavior that you feel like people often overlook?
Yeah. So I think first of all, the top recommendation I would have is as you're gathering kind of your keyword data that you then are aggregating, kind of clustering into the different categories, I would one start and try to get as much attributes as possible. So it's like you can always gather in more, use what you need, but keep those options open. I think one area that's often overlooked is gathering actually historical search volume data and gathering it on a monthly level. At that point, you're then able to use your monthly data. You can then look at quarter over quarter performance. You can see also maybe between two categories, both have increased, but one's been growing and increasing at a faster rate, which is going to influence and kind of give you context into how that's evolving, which can then change your actual strategy. So just because one category is a bit stronger, the other one's been growing at a faster rate, it's going to eventually surpass. You get that context and the understanding of really what's going on within that category or that group of keywords.
Got it. And once again, right on time. Yep, Cassandra will put a minute back on the clock. Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think something that sometimes gets overlooked is looking at the search results themselves. So going to Google, looking at the terms that you care about most, and then seeing what's on the page. Is there a photo carousel? Are there people also ask? What other are there videos on there? What other opportunities are there on the search page that your company can sort of go after, right? So again, we come at it mostly from a content creation perspective. The great thing is to try to see if you can be in as many different places as possible. So is there opportunity for that particular query, if it's really important, that you should create a video that kind of answers that question. If you see sort of the people also ask, know that a lot of people are going to click on that, and you should have content, maybe it's a separate page on your site or something, but content that is going to answer all of those specific questions. At the very bottom of the search results, you typically see related search. Again, think about those keywords as being really important. And again, I went over, but yeah, Tyson is nodding his head. So I'm confident that was a good answer. We're going to wait and see if Cassandra agrees. Yes, I win that question. All right. Nice. We are tied 1-1. We're down to our last question. Tyson's going to ask it to me, but this is for all the marbles. Go ahead, Tyson.
Okay, so the question that I have is, what's the value of being featured or having like a featured snippet position 0 type like element on the SERP if there's so much no-click activity going on?
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because I have a feeling we're going to disagree on this one. But yeah, so featured snippet, that means you do a search on Google and your Google sort of shows you the result right up front. If you say, when is Mother's Day, Google actually sort of has that in their database. They'll show you that answer. But sometimes if you say, what is content marketing, you will actually see the answer pulled from a website. And if that answer is really good, a lot of times you'll never click through to the website. And so I may be in the minority. Clearly, if you're in that 0 position, if you're that featured snippet, you've done a fantastic job of SEO. So pat yourself on the back. Google thinks you've got the best answer to that question. But if that answer is so good that nobody's going to click through to your site, I'm skeptical of what that value is. You will hear people say that there's some branding value. Again, I think when people go to Google, they're looking for an answer. And if you tell them what content marketing is and you give them that answer, they're done. They're not going to sort of look down and go, oh, who gave me that answer? Oh, I'm going to really, think about that company a lot. So yeah, I'm skeptical of that value. We're going to put the 1 minute back on the clock. Tyson, I'm guessing that you have somewhat of a different view on that.
That's right, I do. And I think it's a really interesting question. And you have like a bunch of different opinions on this within the SEO and kind of just general digital marketing community. I'm more on the side of, even though I do, and I'm really fascinated by like no-click activity and going after keywords that have higher actual like click-through rates. But I think I wouldn't say like I don't want to take that position. I would want to take that position for a couple reasons. One, I would view it as a defensive move where I'm not going to give up that space to my competitors. And I'm not going to say like, oh, I don't want to rank on that, or I'm not going to work on this page because of it. The other reason is being that one URL is not just going to rank for one keyword. If you're in the position 0 and you have the featured snippet, there's a greater chance that that URL is ranking and performing well for the entire set of keywords on that page. So 1, I'd be like, defensive move. 2, I know the other keywords it's ranking for is going to do well. So I wouldn't mind having it even if I'm not getting clicks from that individual keyword.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. And again, this question was for the winner of the episode. Cassandra says, Tyson. Nice job, Tyson. So Tyson wins this episode of Counterpunch. This was quick. I would highly recommend that you go to our Digital Marketing League site. You can just go to Google, search for Digital Marketing League. Tyson has his own page on that site. Tyson did a 1-hour session at our very first Digital Marketing League for the US audience. In 2020, he goes into a lot more detail about some of the topics that we covered today. Excellent information, gives you a really good full understanding of what we're talking about. Searchmetrics, of course, lots of search data, great place for you to go if you need to kind of figure out what you should be doing with regards to your search strategy. So that wraps it up for us. I do want to say if you have any comments, please leave them below. If you like this episode, click that like button. And if you want to stay tuned, click on that subscribe button so you will find out every time we release a new episode. Thanks a lot, Tyson. Bye.